Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, and we're reaching the end of the Cowboy Bebop story with session 25 and session 26, The Real Folk Blues, part 1 and part 2. These both, part 1 made its Adult Swim debut on November 19th, 2001, and second part made its debut on November 26th, 2001.
Yeah, this is it. This is the two-part finale. Really the finale for Spike more specifically. Um, we never see what happens to Jet or Faye after. It's the story ends with Spike. And what an ending it is.
Okay.
And it's also I'm really happy. They really do build up Faye's exit in the preceding episode like it's permanent. I'm really happy she's back in the fold for these two episodes.
Yeah.
He's really needed here.
Yeah. As someone who's seen this episode multiple times, as with the same of both of you, it never gets easier, does it?
No.
It really
It,
doesn't.
there's something so like epic hero about the whole thing where Achilles is not going to make it to the end of the Iliad. Like, and there's something so tragic in the inevitability of that makes it feel so much grander in the scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah. At least Odysseus makes it at the end of the Odyssey.
I mean, at what cost?
Well, yeah, he's like literally the only one from Ithaca to make it back. But yeah. Yeah. Ever watch the return with Ray Fiennes?
I
Yes.
haven't actually.
Yeah. He's super jacked. Anyway, let's talk about let's talk about Cowboy
That's not like to end it on. That's the review quote.
Bebop.
There's so much good in this episode. It's really hard to know where to start with it. There's a lot of stuff I like. I say one thing I like about this whole episode in general is its very fuzzy approach to time. We
Mm.
never really get the feeling that how long things are taking. Certain things feel like they could be happening at the same time. Certain things feel like they're a flashback. I think does a really good job of putting you in Spike's head.
Yeah.
Like that Julia scene is presented like a flashback, but you quickly pick up it's not a flashback. That's happening now. Then you realize Spike's thing with the eye, one that was always dreaming, one that saw the truth. That's what he's having here. This is, to him, all happening at once still. He is still very much trapped in that moment.
Yeah. Speaking of Julia, having just talked about Stan Lee's The Condor, you know who voices Julia in the English dub?
Mary Elizabeth McGlynn.
She does a better job here. She does
Also
a
married to Steve Bloom after this.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Like, this was right before they got married.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cute.
That's where they met. Their meet cute is they got to work together. She was the voice director on the English dub of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Fun
And
fact.
I I really like Julia as a character, and I love how Faye describes Julia, like beautiful in an ordinary way that you can't leave alone. That is such an evocative image of what this woman is.
Super poetic.
I love Jet's face when she says that as well, because there's that slight grimace he makes, which is I think there's the idea that like he's seen Spike sort of chase women before, like,
Yeah.
and like he comes back from those. Julia's normal. That this isn't a fling. This is it. He ain't coming back from this one because Julia. He's not going to back off because Julia is that special to him that she is worth the death chase.
Yeah. All or nothing. All or
Yeah.
nothing. And so much of the first part of this story is episode and a half is Spike and Julia on the run. And then without Julia, where does Spike go? He doesn't go away. He goes straight into the lion's den because
Yep.
that's all he has left.
I mean,
Um,
it's there's something really there's something very poetic and something very tragic about it because it's going back to my Achilles reference. It's what happens to Achilles after the death of Patroclus. It is the loss of the other half. It is the thing that made me think I could be good is now gone. And that is intense.
I also think it's in some way, if we're staying Greek, if we're going to stay Greek with this, it's also Orpheus, right? He
Yeah.
tries to escape the underworld, but he literally turns away too early, or in this case, I guess not early enough, and loses her.
I mean, the interesting thing too, like with Orpheus specifically, is a lot of people, they make the argument like, why would you turn around? You know the deal. But the reality is that if you don't know why you turn around, you've never been in love. You've never had that feeling. Of course, you're going to turn around when you think that the person that you love is in peril. And Spike turns just in time to basically absorb the impact of her death.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I love how we don't get her line for the first part. We have to get that back in the flashback. It does a. I love again. This episode does something really impressive for Bebop. Is that it's very quiet. These two episodes are much quieter than what we've had. And when you have Kano, Miss I produce 500 tracks around to be like, actually, we're going to be really quiet here. It's such a brave choice, but it works so well.
Yeah, it's there's a level of restraint, and I think part of it is it's not it's not a joyous portion of the story. You know, it's our I can't even call it a Pyrrhic victory because it isn't really a victory at all. I mean, it's can we also talk about how Vicious takes out one of the giant frogmen by cutting their eye open or something?
Yo, when he cuts the eyes out, that
Yeah.
whole like, that freaking Mortal Kombat finishing move of it all,
Yeah.
The
like,
thing I've always had about this episode is for how long has Vicious's bird been a bomb?
the whole time. I'm
Like
gonna guess the whole
I,
time.
I just if they ever did a prequel, I want that origin story of when Vicious thought this is a nice bird, nice canary, I'm going to shove it full of dynamite.
Yeah, yeah. There's probably, it's probably laced with nitroglycerin from head to toe. We just don't know.
You ever
Crows
feed
are,
Rice Krispies to a
That's
parakeet?
what I was thinking.
yeah, yeah.
I there's
Do not feed Rice Krispies to a parakeet.
I'll just
After
flash that
dark.
on screen. There's so many nice bits of this episode. One thing I really like, specifically, is how these whole episodes are basically a flashback to the very first one. How Julia and Spike talk is how that couple at the very start spoke.
Yeah.
And there is a very nice little twist, and that is a Jew when Julia's walking in the rain. The song there features the theme from Memory, which was the song being played in that episode. And whenever we've gone had a moment of sentimentality, Memory is in the piece somewhere. And what this episode kind of does, it kind of makes a Jew into Julia's theme, which means that even though, again, it's that idea, Julia hasn't been here, but she's been here to Spike. She's been in the music the entire time. Her presence is impossible to get away from.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, we did mention earlier that we don't find out what happens to Jet and Faye after the end of all things. But you know who we do find out what happens to them? The people from the Roundup show,
Big shot.
where Big Shot show. Sorry, I don't know why I said Roundup, but yeah, you see him with his mother mentioning that his co-host is getting married to her agent. What an interesting, weird little piece of world building that I think is so needed when
That
Faye watches it happen.
that's one of my favorite moments in the first episode because I think it actually is the episode's thesis statement.
Yeah.
Because you see his mother was from how she talks. There's clearly been a debate whether he can look after her, but he has decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to confront that last issue, and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to tie it up. I'm going to go and look after her. He isn't carrying the weight. So what does he get to do? He gets to change his costume. He gets to move on. Spike never did that. So what happens to him? Faye never did that. What happens to her? They're stuck.
Yeah. 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 Everyone evolves, except for our lovely Bebop crew, at least the Bebop crew that's left. Would you argue that Jet's evolved, or is he stuck like the other two?
I mean, he's literally stuck because his ship
Yeah,
doesn't work anymore.
He does get
and
shot in the leg.
he just gets shot in the leg. Takes it to the leg a couple of times in this series.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when one of your arms is already a prosthetic,
I think that Jet, if
his
he
voice
wasn't
going.
if Jet wasn't surrounded by so many people who were stuck in the past, I think Jet could move on. But I think that at a certain point in your life, you make an active choice in the people you are around. And I don't see him kicking Faye out. Like he keeps the people around him who are stuck.
No,
I
and I think that's part of there's a fatherly part of that to him.
Yeah.
I think there's a little nod to that kind of idea in the next on at the end of the first episode, where he jokingly tells Spike, I realized I like dogs. I raised Ein. And that's the first time we've seen someone sort of develop those guys develop. He has discovered something new and he's discovered a purpose. Like he now has someone to care for. Um, yeah, I really like the idea that yeah, he is at the very start when they're in the bar, one thing that always strikes me is Jet is complaining about having Faye and Ed on board. What does he say? Pamper me, baby me. Those are specific things he said to Faye. He never brings himself to say anything bad about Edward. And I think that's, again, another sign of him sort of growing on. He realized, actually, I quite liked having the kid around. He was a pain, but I quite liked having the kid around. Faye annoys me because she's Faye. But in that moment, while almost comforting Spike by saying, "Oh, we don't need them," he could have said something bad about Ed, but he decided not to.
Since we're kind of flitting back and forth and we're talking Jet and everything, how about the last meal or the last kind of it's a goodbye, even though they don't quite say between Jet and Spike. Where Spike, as soon as Spike says that Julia is dead, it's like, okay, I know exactly what you're about to do now.
I love it so much. The tension in that scene is so good. The tiger striped cat story is really good. I don't know why, but those little moments kind of remind me of the end of the Killing Joke in a weird way,
Mm.
where Joker tells his joke to Batman and then they both start laughing and it's Batman choking the Joker and you don't see what happens after that. Like in the comic, not the really terrible animated adaptation. But I I like the tension because you can almost see a little hope in Jet right before he mentions Julia being dead. Like Jet is hopeful in that moment. Like, oh, he actually turned back up. He showed up. This is great. Maybe we can move forward. And then it turns out, no, you can't.
Yeah.
And I like, again, we have this a lot with Jet and Spike, where we get little bits of conversation that feels like a joke we're not privy to. The cat story feels like that. With Spike's ending, I don't like cats. It feels like there's been this thing off screen we haven't seen where that has just been a recurring motif. It's calling specifically to their relationship. This is a joke only we will get.
Yeah.
Talking of stories, we should also note the story Jet tells is actually is a reference to an actual story, Hemingway's Snows of Kilimanjaro. And Jet is entirely right. Spike ends up basically recreating that, including ending up on the White Mountain at the very end with those steps.
There are a lot of steps in that file room, aren't there?
I There is so much about that ending is famous. We have to do a whole bit on it in a minute, but there's a lot of bits building up to it that make it work so well.
Yeah.
One of my favorite little pieces I love, which I think is teasing the audience a little bit, is when Spike and Julia meet. How she's holding the gun makes it look like she's about to shoot him in the stomach,
Yeah.
and that is done, I think, deliberately because Bebop was played on these tropes before, the noir tropes, and sort of hugging someone in and blowing is a common one. And I think they do that deliberately to tease the audience because there's that hope there that, oh, she'll do it, Spike will kill her, or she'll run off, and Spike will go back to Jet. This will all be over. But no, she does, in that moment for the audience, she does the worst thing. She doesn't shoot it.
Yeah.
She doesn't give Spike the easy out of, okay, I'm done.
Can you think about how like bad with that in mind? Can you think about how bad live action Bebop botched that? Because she does shoot
Oh,
him in the
Yep,
season. I
yep.
was about to say
uh,
season finale, but I can say series finale. She actually shoots him. But
it's so bad. It like there is there's a TV trope called comically missing the point.
yeah,
That is the entirety of the live action series because it is the just quickly about the tiger story that is based on a Japanese children's story that kind of underscores a lot of the relationship between Spike and Vicious. And the live action didn't understand any of the nuances of any of these characters. And it's such a shame. It really is a shame because it could have been good in another universe.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not ours.
Not
I
ours.
I mean, I think it also really goes to show a thing with the live action is that I think the idea of earning something, which I think Bebop does very well. Like we talk about sort of that scene where Julia gets shot and the doves come up. We've joked a lot about some Bebop symbolism being very on the nose. In a lot of shows, the whole doves flying up as she falls would be trite.
Sure.
But Bebop earned that mode, like puts it to make you basically, even someone like me who is cynical gets pulled in by it because they've made a case for why Julia matters, why Spike cares, why they haven't just said this moment is sad, cry now. They're like, this is why they have broken it down in a very relatable, very engrossing way to make that moment actually sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bebop doesn't need the cue cards being held up to tell you what to like it's a vaudeville show telling you to clap and boo. It does it through the dialogue, it does it through the atmosphere.
And it does it through the body language too. Like when you, which is so impressive for any animated show, but when you see Faye standing in the doorway looking at Spike who's working on the gun when she's about to deliver Julia's message, her that's the least confident you see her body language in a very long time. And that shows in such an interesting way with her. Like, I love the body language in Cowboy Bebop is something that should be studied forever. It's so deliberate in everything that it does, and I really like that.
Hmm.
I love her voice performance in both English and Japan in Japanese is really good there as well. When you see her sort of fall to script again and go, it'll cost you. It's like she doesn't want to say it, so she's gonna like, what can I say that will mean Spike tells me to sod off and I don't have to say it?
Yeah.
What's the script? I'm gonna ask some money. But at the same time, she can't quite go through with it, so she ends up following him. It's a lovely bit of character.
Yeah. God,
Mm.
show.
God, it's so good.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have to put it to bed after this. I mean, after our holiday special, we get which will air before this.
Time is broken. I did
Yeah.
not forget what date
Time
Christmas was on.
Yeah,
time
yeah.
doesn't matter anymore.
Also, this could be like in February when this comes out.
That's why I wanted to go for the movie after this. So I'm happy we're doing that because I
Yeah.
We're
like
gonna do that for the Hanukkah special.
yeah. Well, technically it takes place on Halloween.
Oh, it does take place on Halloween.
It
Right.
does take
It's a
place in
Halloween
Halloween.
parade at the end.
On Mars, it's always Halloween.
Yeah.
Actually, while we're on production, can I talk about the
Yeah.
airing of this? 'Cause I think it's quite fun.
Yes.
This episode, surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, got heavily censored on the original Adult Swim run. But I'm really, really impressed by what they did. So they wiped out a lot of blood. So during the massacre in the chambers, a lot of blood there is cut. And in the second episode entirely, they darken the whole episode to make the
Hmm.
blood less obvious. They cut some blood still, but like there's only one scene in these two episodes that gets cut totally, and that's Viscous running his finger through the pool of blood.
Not the eyeballs?
No, because they darkened it and took off some of the blood. So because remember, you don't see the blade, you touch the eyes. It could be anything.
Yeah.
I will say it makes me. I think it really shows that Adult Swim knew what they had with Bebop in a way where like because I think they would have been totally fair because they're still coming off September 11th at this point to go, you know what, push to next year, cancel it. We're not good. But for them to go, we're going to go through all this effort to get as much through as humanly can. And literally the only thing we cut is one. And in the TV broadcast, it just comes back from commercial to the guy carrying the coat across going, our passport's gone. It's a seamless cut. So I think it really shows that they knew we've got something here. Let's not waste it. Let's do whatever we can to make sure this gets out.
Yeah.
And to be fair, based on how often they've rerun Bebop and how high its ratings are during every rerun, they were right. They had something here.
Yeah. Did the movie?
I
I guess we can talk about this in indeterminate amount of time in the future. Um, the did the movie air on
Yes.
Adult Swim?
Yeah,
Okay,
they did.
cool.
Oh, may have aired on Toonami technically. I'll have to look into the exact times. bad.
We'll
But
figure that out
they
when we figure
they
all that out.
definitely showed it because I have a promo for it saved.
Little
Nice.
little peek behind the curtain for the audience there.
We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think we have to tackle it. What happens at the end of the second episode?
He's dead.
Disagree. Watanabe disagrees with you.
Oh, well.
Really?
Thank you for
Me and
falling into my
Kenshiro
hook.
can talk about it over drinks when I talk
Visit
to.
Watanabe.
Find
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I just want to bring this up in an interview with the Daily Text in 2006 when asked if Spike was dead or alive at the end of Cowboy Bebop. His response was, "I've never officially said he's died. At this point, I can tell you I'm not sure if he's alive or dead. I think probably rather than being yelled at for killing Spike, I think people are more upset that I might make a continuation."
That's fair.
And this led to
Schrodinger's main character.
a interview when he's asked again in 2013 on Red Carpet News TV. He said, "I think people who watch the ending and think Spike is just asleep are probably right. He's just sleeping," and then starts laughing.
Yeah.
And this led to, of course, the very first thing you ever see them do talks at cons. If they're ever asked if Spike is alive, they say he's dead. And if they're asked if he's dead, they say he's alive.
Yeah.
Well, we all know what really happened is that Spike got isekai'd and ended up in Space Dandy. So
Either that or he possesses Mugen and Samurai Champloo.
I mean, yeah.
I've always found it a bit weird people debate the ending so much, because to me it was always very cut and dry, that because literally he falls down, then we see the star go out, and then we cut to him on the floor not moving.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always thought it was pretty obvious. I don't understand why this is such a
Yeah, do we need a
debate.
physician to come in and like check pulse and be like, lost this one?
He got pretty shot. Blood should be
Like,
on the inside.
I don't think that this is a JoJo situation where like someone's gonna reach into somebody's chest and start beating their heart for them, you know? Like that does
That's just
happen in
that yeah, there's no Josuke in the Cowboy Bebop world unless there is.
What I love is the star goes out, and the literal lyric at that moment is "I'm ascending." It's like, I don't think it could be any more on the nose.
Well, we were talking about parallels to the first episode, and how many times is like Spike basically been like, okay, kind of been whimsical about the possibility that this time it's going to be his death, and the one time he's like super serious, it's like it's the time he dies. It's and it's something that's telegraphed earlier in the episode. He's a dead man walking as soon as he loses Julia.
Yeah, I do love how when you look the native Jet speaks to, I love that discussion and how it does set up Spike's death really nicely, in the idea that Spike wasn't afraid of death, so it guided him. It guided him to his death, but also he got that moment at the end where he got to walk out on his own 2 feet. He also got the last word, which I think is that idea. Yeah, Spike wasn't afraid to die in that moment, and because of that, he gets to go out how he wants.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because Spike mentions that I'm not going there to die. I'm going to see if I was ever alive, that kind of thing. And I really like that. I love that as an energy. I also just picked up I believe that the native chief that we see there, he calls Jet running rock, if I'm correct with that.
Yeah, he does.
Like I think that ties into my earlier thing. I think it's just that he's trying to move forward, but he's stuck like a rock.
I love how he gets angry about that name as well. So there's a brief moment where Jet has, again, I think he does a fade for a brief moment of like, I am in a bad mood and I'm going to snap at the first person I can get away with snapping at.
Also, did anybody else notice the PlayStation 1
Yep.
in that dude's house?
Of course.
I mean, he probably doesn't get that much business, to be fair. So far, only Spike and Jet. So he's got some time to play some Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. I want to play Tales of Symphonia all the time.
Oh my god.
Give Death Controller 2.
Yeah.
And then it'll beat Psycho Mantis for you. That's what he meant. I also want to I love the thing which is Carry That Weight, which is the very last sting we get of Bebop.
You
And
carry that weight.
it's beautiful, like quadruple meaning. I've always wondered when the Bebop team picked that as the last one. So if you don't know, Carry That Weight is a Beatles reference. It specifically was the Beatles in the last album realizing nothing they ever do is going to live up to the Beatles. So obviously it fits with Spike. Spike is always carrying that weight of his old actions. But I wonder if the Bebop team ever had that for themselves. Like, we're going to have to live up to this in the future. or answer for this because we already had the Bebop Sting card, which said it will be a genre unto itself.
Yeah.
And with all the problems they had with getting it aired, I always wonder when they sort of picked carry that way and if it was a deliberate thing to them or if it happened just worked out really well for them.
I mean, it's either that or you end it with Her Majesty, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean,
or,
I mean, you
the
gotta
one,
imagine.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
love,
you gotta imagine for Watanabe that this is like the Cowboy Bebop is a masterpiece, but it's also kind of a millstone around Watanabe's neck because Watanabe, I don't think has made a bad anime, but everything gets compared to Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. I say as the
And
one
they're
Lazarus defender. Lazarus is fine. It's good. Just it's not Bebop. But if you chase Bebop forever, you're not going to get Bebop. We have the live action that proves that.
and I think that the show kind of shows that too, where it's like if you keep chasing this thing forever, you're never gonna get it.
Um,
yeah.
I wish someone would ask him, but I've always wondered if Watanabe saw the live action and kind of had a moment of like, actually, you know what? I made the right choice.
I think he did. I think I remember reading somewhere where he's like basically was like, "Yo, what the hell was
Yeah.
that?"
I think, well, that's all those years having people say, oh, make more Bebop and him being very firm to not do it. I think there must be that moment of like, yeah, no, this proves I was entirely right.
Yeah, there's a yeah, there I want to get it. What do you think what do you think of what's his name helping Spike ultimately to his death too?
And
Yeah.
I love him. I
he's
what
so
I
cute.
like, he's very cute, gets shot very well, takes a bullet like a champ. Um, I like how he does Spike's entire story in 2 episodes. I think he perfectly shows that he is the same thing as Spike had. He had this incident in the past. He is stuck in this incident in the past. And what's that going to do? He's going to run it straight into Vicious where he's going to get killed. I
I
think
love my anime boys like I love my cheese, full of holes.
Yeah. There's Watanabe's reaction to the
oh, well, I'm going to have to load it. Yeah,
oh
he
Oh
couldn't,
no.
Watanabe couldn't bear watching it.
he only got through the casino scene.
Oh, wow.
Oh
That,
wow.
he was the most intelligent person then because I should have quit at the casino soon as well.
That's
Um,
everything that's wrong with it
But
right there.
we we are coming close to the end, so it's time to ask the big question. What are your final thoughts on Cowboy Bebop? Not just these episodes, but as a whole. What are our final thoughts?
Every time it's like this is the best anime that's ever been made. I'm kind of surprised I don't own it physically. I only own the digital versions of it. I mean, next time I'm in Japan, I'll treat myself. In addition to all the Dragon Ball figures I also get. Uh and the Super Famicom games. But the yeah, no, it's the greatest. Dragon Ball will always have a special place in my heart, but number one is always going to be Cowboy Bebop.
yeah, I said it's kind of this is one of those shows where I feel that we can't ever do Bebop justice. There is so much. I could talk about the last 2 episodes for days. I have written, God, at this point, probably nearly 10,000 words on these things over the years. Bebop is the thing where I just. There are a few things in life where I say you should be sat down and forced to watch them, as but Bebop is one of them. Bebop is if we had a canon for television, like we have a canon for literature, if we had a canon for anime, like we had a canon for Bebop would be the cornerstone. It would be if you went to a school, you'd be sat down and forced to watch it. Bebop is great. You should watch it. And I know if you haven't seen it, you're probably like, oh, it's overhyped. It's not overhyped. I would argue it's underhyped. It does so much in so many ways and in such a short time. We've only been with Spike for 26 episodes, and yeah, I would say this. Yeah, we watch a lot of stuff for this show. We watch stuff several times. I watched everything a couple of times for different versions. Every single time I watch Real Folk Blues, I for this, which is about 4 times this episode,
Yeah.
I had to go out onto my balcony and just sit on the floor of my balcony every single time, which for something I have seen nearly yearly since I was 14. Yeah.
Just to echo John's point, it is a masterpiece. It is akin to like the brothers Karamazov. It is akin to the Last Supper. It is a foundational thing that cannot be reproduced or recreated. Even trying to do it is trying to stare at the sun in a weird sort of way. The it's one of those anime that just defies genre. It defies its the confines of anime. Even calling it an anime sometimes feels so like wrong. Like it's not just a TV show. It's not just a cartoon. It's so much more than that. And I'm the first one to be on the train of certain things are overhyped. Me and Name of the Wind have had words, but I do agree, and I think that everybody should watch Cowboy Bebop, and I think that everybody's going to get something out of it, no matter what that thing is. You are going to find something, and it's going to make you think a little bit, and maybe give you some more appreciation for freeform jazz, and also a little more appreciation for having a place to call home. But that does mean we have reached our final destination. That's right, we have pulled into our final destination. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again for talking with us about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
I'm John.
And we'll see you later, Space Cowboy. Bang.